Hello and welcome back to the Splat World Series REWOUND, where we bring you the sets that weren't necessarily on stream. I'm Sasu, I'm sitting here with Frostiix, and we're going to be looking at Takoyaki Party versus Hypernova. But first of all, Frostiix, how are you doing?
Well, I am blazing up, I am baking in my room. It is very hot here in Toronto, Canada, but you know what else could be hot? It will be this set, of course, Takoyaki Party, consisting of Rusu, Todo, Kontan, Okura, Rusu and Todo in particular being, I remember you saying that they were pretty prominent and pretty powerful players within the Japanese scene. And then they're up against Hypernova, consisting of Synapse, Lexi, Datkid, Henlo. These four players in this new iteration of the Hypernova lineup are deadly aggressive and deadly quick with their plays. A skirmish squad indeed here. Of course, whenever, like, the player that I think of the most, Henlo on that Wiper, can be really, really tricky to play around.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to see here if Takoyaki Party is able to keep up with just the deadly skirmish coming out of Hypernova. And looking at these comps, of course, we're seeing Henlo on that aforementioned Wiper, but clearly Datkid on that Splash on a little bit more of a stable weapon.
Definitely so. It's maybe a lot more stable than the brush that you maybe see a lot from Datkid. It could definitely allow for a lot more turning power in the game. As we see, Datkid's already firing off with the crab tank. Todo's trying to take cover within the pit over here, but now the strike tricks are coming out from Takoyaki Party. Henlo's out of ink. They're going down. Synapse is picking up the slack though, and right now they're being gunned down. They're jumped down. There's two members down on both teams, and Datkid's actually trying to get a jump onto Takoyaki Party's stack. Right now, the zone is in neutral, but it has now been capped by Hypernova.
Yeah, right now, Hypernova in a really advantageous position. You see them in mid with all of the zone. Of course, Kontan bringing out on that S-Blast the Booyah Bomb, but they do get checked by Lexi. Two members down so far on Takoyaki Party, but one of the things is Takoyaki Party, now that they're at this disadvantage, Hypernova is really well poised to see if they can go for this lockout.
Definitely so. They're feeling it. They are in the zone right now. They hold the power position, but as soon as I say that, Datkid gets suction bombed down. That's one less splash to worry about if you are Takoyaki Party. And now the zone has gone into neutral. Kontan's taking a lot of chip damage to Synapse. They're going down, but the tri-strikes will allow Takoyaki Party to get that zone. And now Todo is looking to be on a rampage of their own. The decap is in position, accompanied by the Neo Splash as well as that S-Blast. Will this be a turning point for Takoyaki Party?
We will see. Honestly, they're fast approaching the score here. You see Henlo popping this hammer, seeing if they can get a pick. It's not going to have any purchase. Datkid, I believe, painting for his crab, which you see out now, but it's just not going to be enough so far. We have a change in hand in terms of the lead with the numbers still counting, and three members down on Hypernova, meaning Lexi's the only person out, and that's going to be a delayed wipe. Now, this is a brutal map, and Takoyaki Party is in the position to just have a lockout and not allow Hypernova to get back into that zone.
Skirmishers have been skirmished here. That being said, Kontan's going down. Hypernova needs to start scrambling to put zone in neutral. There it is, and there's the flip from Hypernova. These players are not going down without a fight, with 72 penalty points being applied to Takoyaki Party. They now have a lot more time to work around here. They still have around 3 minutes, 32 seconds left in the game.
Yeah, but it is not going to be easy, even with this huge penalty that Takoyaki Party is eating through to get back into that zone. They just have so many fights that they have to take before they even try. And quite frankly, Takoyaki Party, just by how they're playing and by nature of being a Japanese team, they've got a lot of speed and a lot of aggression. You see Henlo taking this Splat for himself, saying absolutely not, get out of here, but time is ticking and they have to get into the zone.
Definitely, with this hammer, it's coming out. No picks, though, from Henlo, which means Takoyaki Party is still in control of zone. The strikes come out from the Neo Splash, and that will be the knockout. Hypernova not able to secure the zone in time, which means game one of the set goes to Takoyaki Party.
Yeah, honestly, I think that was kind of close, though. You see, at the end there, they were able to get a lot of picks, but something about Takoyaki Party, when they they're just relentless. Despite getting all of those picks, Hypernova was not able to sufficiently paint over the zone, and at the end of the day, they just ran out of time. You can see here on this replay when Henlo took that plat and moved in, and here's in theory where they should have flipped, but they just didn't have the paint power.
Yeah, especially when Takoyaki Party has the strikes in tow, alongside the paint coming out from the Neo Splash as well as the head here. That can probably cover up any bit of paint going on. And once again, much like the last set that I was on, I am not present. I'm probably sure it'll come back eventually, but we're going down to Hagglefish. There I am. It's just like when I did it with Hammy. Anyways, Hypernova's counter pick will be Hagglefish zones here, so it's going to be another really skirmishy zones match coming up here. And you've probably known this if you watched any of the streams that me, Sasu, or just a bunch of other people do. Hagglefish Market is a map of many names.
Yeah, this is not surprising to see this on the counter pick from Hypernova. Any competitive team, especially in the Western scene, should have a Hagglefish Market plan in their back pocket. It's got those flanks, which is going to be super useful for a Henlo who is just going to dominate with that skirmish power and check anybody who tries to flank. And speaking of flank, we already have a flank from Todo that takes 3 members of Hypernova down, and now they are going to see if they can get the wipeout with Lexi, and they get it.
Yeah, Kontan managing to get the last pick, securing a full wipeout for Takoyaki Party. Never underestimate the brushing power of the Mint Decapitator in the hands of Todo. That triple, insane, and it allows Takoyaki Party to hold the ground even more, with Lexi going down to Okura's head. Okura, however, is going down. There's 2 members down on Hypernova. Even still, it's another wipeout for Takoyaki Party. Kontan sitting in the spawn with a Booyah Bomb. The strikes are also ready from the Neo Splash as well. Can Hypernova break out?
I don't know. It's not looking great for them. Honestly, Hagglefish is a place that has absolutely brutal lockout, especially you see that Hypernova has very little paint to deal with. Todo, of course, getting this double. Dat Kid trying to see what they can do on that top left, but I'm afraid this is just going to be a runaway for Takoyaki Party, and there is just no time left on the clock for Hypernova.
Talk about a blitzkrieg, Sasu! And what a showcase of speed, of power, of positioning, of dominance from Takoyaki Party here. Like, they moved faster than, of course, Hypernova, of course, with just how they play. But this is coming against a team that is known for being just so fight-focused, so aggressive and skirmishy like Hypernova. And Takoyaki Party just says, well, what if we decide to one-up you? Multiple wipeouts in one game. So many impactful plays from Todo, from the S-Blast. There's that double onto Henlo and Synapse. And let's not forget about that triple within the first couple seconds of that game.
Honestly, I think that when you look at both of the comps, Hypernova a little bit weaker on the retake in terms of what they were running, and when you look at Takoyaki Party, honestly, a lot of their specials are about taking space. You have that displacement Booyah Bomb on the S-Blast, you have Todo who has the bubble, you have the strikes. It is just a lot of, we're gonna take this space, and now we're gonna keep it.
Yeah, it's like Takoyaki Party basically said to Hypernova, hey, what if we said we're gonna play Splat Zones, but actually, we're playing Spawn Zone. You need to now start flipping your own spawn if you want to start winning. And it didn't look like Hypernova was able to sort of regain control of their own spawn. They were just locked out by Takoyaki Party, and they just never got to see the light of mid.
Yeah, but take a look here. That's Todo going down, but not before, I believe, getting a triple, taking down Synapse. I believe Henlo and Dat Kid with them. That is all of the fighters that are on Hypernova. But quite frankly, once again, if you did happen to tune in to the pre-talk for Splat World Series, Hypernova still kind of getting their hands on a comp that works for them. Of course, Dat Kid usually on Brush was instead on a more steady weapon on that splash. So not much retake here, but we might see in future iterations that Hypernova adjusts for that. So this is their first game. Be sure to tune in to their game, since after this, I believe they've moved down to losers.
Yeah, there's still a lot more Hypernova and a lot more Takoyaki Party in the rest of the Splat World Series final that we are still rewinding for you here on the IPL YouTube channel. So, if you are seeing this in a very well compiled playlist, like I was saying the last time I was on, get that bucket of popcorn, get that really big bottle of water, because there's a lot more of this wonderful esports coming for you later. There's Sasu's big water.
Yep, stay hydrated and keep on watching.